Good evening, everyone. We're going to make mustard pickled fish soup tonight for supper. And below me, I have a fillet of fish. I'm going to show you how to cut it. So I've already sliced it in half. So you put it back together, and then you're going to cut it on a bias, on an angle, and you're going to cut it about 1/4 inch thick. You're going to do this for the whole fillet. Now I already have some already cut up. I didn't want to waste your time showing you everything I'm doing here. But this is how you make the fillets for the pickled fish. This is the fish. We got the fish head. I split it in half. We got all the bones from the fish that are in the pan. And we're going to add 2 tablespoons of Szechuan cooking wine. It's a Chinese cooking wine. We add this. My hands are clean. I've already washed them. And then you get in and you toss it around in the cooking wine. And you let this marinate from anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And then when we get to the next part, I'll show you what we're going to do with this. All right, this is pickled mustard greens that we get at the Asian market. It's basically the same thing as sauerkraut. You can use sauerkraut in place of it if you don't have it. So you just cut it into like 1/4 inch slices. I always cut everything on the bias. It looks better in the pan. It's just a much nicer presentation. Everybody, I make my own chicken broth. I'll show you a recipe later on how to make my chicken broth. I'll link it up here into the top. But we make our own chicken broth. We freeze it, and then we use it later down the road when we need it. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna marinate the fish that we cut up. It's cut in 1/4 inch slices, so it's very thin. It'll cook very fast. It doesn't have to cook long. And in the fish, we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We're going to add 1 tablespoon of flour, but I use cornstarch. So I pack the cornstarch in. I think it does a better job. It just makes it more crispy in the end. Now we're going to add 1 egg yolk. And then you get in with your hands and you mix it up. And it'll start to get sticky. All right, we have all the fish parts in the pan. We're gonna cook them for 2 to 3 minutes. After 1.5 minutes, we're gonna turn all the fish pieces over. Okay, after 3 minutes, we're going to put in half the ginger, the whole ginger. We're going to put that in the pan, and we're going to put in 6 cups of chicken broth. And we're going to let this cook for 10 to 20 minutes. All right, we're going to put a little more olive oil in this Dutch oven. It's a cast iron Dutch oven. I'm going to put about 1 tablespoon in the bottom. We're going to put the ginger and the garlic in the bottom of the pan. And we're gonna let that come up to temperature. Once you start smelling the aroma of the garlic and the ginger, then we're gonna add the pickled mustard. All right, the garlic and the ginger is coming up to temperature. It's giving off a really good aroma. So I'm gonna add the mustard into the pot. And I'm gonna let that cook for another 2 to 3 minutes. And we'll be back as soon as the 3 minutes is up. So, all right, these are the bird's eye chilies that we have stored in our cabinet at home. I'm gonna add a little bit. I don't like really spicy food. You can add as much as you want or as little as you want. We're just gonna mix it around. Now we're going to take the broth from the fish head and the other bones, and we're going to strain it into the soup. And then we're going to let this cook for 10 minutes. Once it cooks after 10 minutes, we're going to start adding in the fish fillet. Now, after 10 minutes of cooking, I'm going to take all of the greens out of the liquid. I'm going to place them in a separate bowl. Once that's done, we're going to bring this back up to a boil. And we're going to introduce the fish one piece at a time separately. We're going to let that cook for 3 to 4 minutes. Okay. All right, so the fish is completed. We're going to take the rest of the ingredients, which is the mustards, and we're going to put it back in the bowl. Take a spatula, you spin it around. This is your pickled mustard fish soup. We're going to add a few Szechuan peppers just to give it a little extra spice. So we add the Szechuan peppers, which is a numbing pepper. It's not really hot, but it numbs the tongue. This is the pickled Szechuan fish soup. All right, if the soup is completely finished, we're going to dump it into a bowl. What we do as a family is we add noodles. We like noodles in our soup. It's not what the recipe calls for, but we really enjoy the noodles in our pickled fish soup. This is the finished product. The pickle is amazing. It has a good sour taste to it. The fish is very tender. It's amazing. And then the noodles just add an extra layer of flavor to the meat and the sauce.